Hey Ben,
Yeah, what's up?
how are you doing?
I'm good. What are you what's going on?
I'm just starting over again. I like the artifice, like we've been talking to for about 30, 20 minutes now, but I like to pretend like it just started.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, we're just doing a mental reset. Got it.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to?
I don't know, man. Drawing?
What are we going to draw today?
Oh, so you want me to pick what we're gonna draw? Okay. Um, this is weird. What was I thinking we should do? Okay, yeah. Let's take a character that we that we like, and choose a random word generator and redesign a character with whatever impression that word gives us.
Okay, I can do that.
All right. I got a random word generator pulled up. Would you rather me go first so you get a sense of what I'm kind of going for?
Sure, we can do that. What character are you really familiar with?
I mean, I don't know if I'm super familiar with him. We're not like intimately close, but I'm gonna go with Ryuk
Oh, that is not what I thought you would say.
from Death Note.
Okay, cool. He's got a very intense design as it is, so whatever word you get, it's going to be like, I don't know how well that's going to go over.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting to try it because he's very much one note aesthetically. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Random word generator, go. Threat.
Okay, he kind of is a threat.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, he seems like pretty docile most of the anime, but I wouldn't want to meet him.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna make him more threatening.
Okay, okay, you're going to up the threat percentage by like 10.
By a factor of 10. Yep.
I'll hold you to that too. If you start to get into a factor of 11, I'm going to say slow down. Take one more spike away. Too many spikes. I'm too scared.
So to make him more threatening, I'm trying to think, and I still want to keep him Ryuk too. That's a big concern.
That's Ryuk right there.
Yeah, exactly. What would make a Ryuk more threatening? First of all, bigger teeth.
Oh my god. It's like a spider Ryuk.
Yeah. Oh, let's give him more eyes. People hate that.
Oh, I hate it already.
And they're all looking in different directions.
Why?
Uh,
Why
you
can't
know,
he focus on one thing?
because he's always looking for his next prey.
Fair. After light, he's like, he can't replace light. Where do you go from light, Yagami?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that's where Ryuk is at the end of Death Note.
Yeah, it's like, how can I reinvent myself and get back out there and into the relationship market?
He'll have to go in the extreme far opposite way and go to America, like in Mississippi, and find somebody on a swamp, give them a Death Note,
Yeah,
see
see
what
how
they
that
do.
works. Yeah, I did like the idea of Death Note like branching out into different wielders with different like motives.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was one like short chapter or something that was dedicated to a person who was given the Death Note who wanted to use it for good, like to put sick people out of their misery or something like that, people who asked for it.
Okay.
It didn't really go anywhere and that chapter was kind of boring as a result, so maybe that isn't the best idea.
Is that a chapter in the anime or the manga or something?
I think it's a manga exclusive chapter for Death Note. I might be wrong on that.
Okay. I've never read the manga, so it didn't sound familiar to me, and I wasn't sure if it's just because it's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah. I also remember the like the pitch or the pilot of Death Note had very milk toast main characters who wanted to use it for good. And the worst part of it was that they were given a eraser so that anything you erased in the Death Note, they would come back to life.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how it worked? That's so lame.
It like the story turned out super lame too. Like it was just like the kids are like, "Oh no, we need to do this, do the right thing," and they go to the cops and they're like, "Hey, we have a death note that kills people," and they're like, "We don't believe you." And so they're like, "Okay,
Well,
just
watch this. What's your name?
yeah, just kill me and erase it so I come back to life." And then they did, and then everything was fine.
Yeah, that sounds pretty lame. I'm really glad they worked out that story, developed a little bit further, and got to where they were going.
Yeah, I've said this like a dozen times to my friend group, but it's new here, so I'm going to say it. The new
Woo.
anime that's coming out, Platinum End. It's by the same team, the same artist and author, back together again, the Dream Team,
Okay.
and it's good. I like it. I like the the strategy like scenarios and things like that.
What is Platinum Man? Because I've never heard of it, period.
The premise of the show is that there's one kid in like high school He tries to kill himself, and he's saved by an angel.
Okay.
And the angel gives him powers and says, "You are now in a contest to become the next god." And
Okay, that's pretty heavy to drop on somebody.
yeah,
You
so
saved me. By the way, your life is different now. Oh, maybe it would have been better if you didn't save me. Too bad.
so it's a flawed premise from the beginning, as you've just noted. It's very like weirdly idealistic in like the wrong way. It's like
Mhm.
it kind of glorifies suicide, and it's really weird for that. It's like, yeah, God thought, let's have all the contestants be people who tried to kill themselves because they're the only ones who truly know how important it is that the world we have changes. It's like,
Eh,
that's not really the best way to go about that.
no, no, it's not.
It's
I don't like that commonality between them. It's
yeah,
interesting though, so I'd probably like see where that thread goes if
it's
I was
like
watching this myself.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
this kind of. It feels like something that a teenager would come up with, and nobody would bother to refine it because they had made Death Note in the past, and it was a huge hit.
Man, that is so true. So many like people like they get some success early in their career and then it completely like bites them for the rest of their career because they think they're like way better than they actually are.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, the thing is, it is like really good. Like the Death Note equivalent in this series is the powers that they get from the angels, which are flight,
Mhm.
Cupid's arrow, which makes anyone you want fall in love with you once, and then there's the white arrow, which automatically kills whoever it shot.
Okay, so the love arrow, do you have one arrow or do they fall in love with you one time and
You
then
can
they can fall out of love with you?
they fall out of love with you after like 13 days. You get a bunch of arrows that you can use. Like you can hit 13 people or something at a time. I'm getting the numbers
Hmm.
wrong,
Okay,
but
but you can't do the same person twice.
exactly.
All right.
And a lot of it is finding out the depth of these rules, and figuring out how you can exploit them. Right. That's like one of the big key, fun parts of Death Note.
Yeah, that's always really fun. I enjoyed that part of Code Geass as well, which is very Death Note.
Yeah, I've always heard that it's described as Death Note with mechs.
I
Um,
like your Ryuk. He's looking pretty swole.
yeah. That's a. I'm trying to think of like a sharp things. Obviously, it makes sense.
Yeah.
What's also threatening is that he doesn't need the sharp things. Like he could just beat you up.
I mean, he doesn't really strike me as like a physical combatant. I think he would manipulate you for fun. And there's nothing you could do to stop him because he's a Shinigami.
Yeah, but now if he wants to beat you up, he can. He's more of a threat.
Okay, that's terrifying too, I suppose. Ryuk is like, hey,
It's just like
once a
any
day, every day, I'm gonna beat you up.
yeah, any way he wants to, he will make your life worse.
Some days it might be with a baseball bat, other days with his bare hands.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then they're actually bare hands, like BEAR.
Yeah, that's what they, I'm going to zoom this out a bit so I can depict that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think this drawing might have peaked early because the fangs and the extra eyes is like all it took.
yeah, I'm still I could still think of a few things. How do bare hands work?
Not well, man.
They're like paws, right?
Yeah, I think so. They're really cuddly.
So that's something there.
Yep.
Let's see. He's got a utility belt, so if he ever needs like night vision goggles or something because he can't find you in the dark, yeah, that's no problem there.
I never once suspected that he had trouble seeing in the dark.
Yeah, the big bulbous eyes usually mean that you can see well in the dark, but now it's out in the open. Like that's a design factor that you just are aware of now.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of like Batman now.
Yeah, he's got Batman level intelligence now,
Swear to me.
which makes him all the more intimidating. He should be a hero with these powers, but no.
You're so corruptible, Ryuk. You get more power and you keep using it for nefarious means.
And he's still got the hot topic accessories.
I'm still kind of like intrigued about this whole platinum in thing that you were talking about. It sounds so crazy.
Yeah, I think the point I was getting to, by the way, before I got a bit off topic and distracted, was that it felt like what they would have made before Death Note, and then they would have refined their
Oh,
idea
yeah.
into Death Note.
Yeah.
Like
That makes a lot of sense.
it's so flawed, but it's got a very good core to it, and so it's very funny to me that they like fixed things preemptively with Death Note and then went back and made it worse.
You know what that reminds me of?
Hmm?
Um, I think it was the Red Letter Media guys that said that, the director who made District 9, he would be having, like, the best career right now if it was going in reverse.
Yeah.
Every movie he makes is, like, slightly worse.
uh, it's interesting that that Platinum End became what it did. It's got like the Death Note parts, the characters, those are all very good. Like there's Metropolis Man. They pronounce it differently in the dub. Like they call him
Mhm.
Metropolis Man, but that sounds weird.
Yeah, it does.
But it's like Metropolis, and he's a superhero, so he's Metropolis Man.
Metropoli.
Yeah, I don't like
Metropoli sounds like he's half gay and he's in, like, a open relationship.
it. Yeah,
Metropoli man.
the main villain is basically taking the guise of a superhero and using that public influence to get away with all this crazy stuff he's doing, which I thought was really cool. The main character doesn't work as a really idealistic guy because he's always put in these positions that he needs to like kill someone with his powers. And
Mhm.
then there's always just like the debate of, oh, I shouldn't kill people. It's not cool. But then I need to, but then I won't, and it's just a bunch of whining about
You
morality, and they're not.
you hashed that ground so much with Death Note. Why do you wanna tread it all over again?
Yeah, it's like the fact that Light is so steadfast in how righteous killing is makes the series move
Mhm.
along faster because you realize how bad it is through his actions, and you don't have to say a word about it.
Does Light learn how bad it is?
No, but
Or
the
does the
viewer,
audience learn?
yeah, the audience does.
Okay. I was gonna say, I didn't catch a scene there where Light was like, "You know what?
Oh,
I
yeah.
messed up.
Yeah, I don't think he ever
My
does
bad,
that.
guys. I'm just gonna turn myself in now."
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're giving him a gun.
So yeah, he's got a gun. Um, the final most threatening thing I can think of.
It's not enough that you're a supernatural being who, can do whatever they want. You're now using man's most deadly weapons against him.
Exactly. Ryuk holding a gun is such a pointless endeavor.
It really is. Like, it's just a decoration to him.
But again, it's the appearance of a threat,
True, it has a psychological effect.
Exactly.
Could you draw, like, spider legs coming out the back of him?
Ooh, yeah, more legs.
Ooh, ooh, I didn't like how you did that. It made it look kinda hairy. I'm not into it. I hate my own imagination.
Uh,
I think you have to change his front legs now to where, like, the knee is, like, higher up,
oh yeah, I got it.
and he walks like a crab.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. I it's so I hate it. This was perfect.
And the timer has gone off, which means it's time for
Oh,
the
yes, I hope you get duplicate a feature and we get a 5th leg.
luck of the draw. Let's spin the wheel and see what I need to do with this drawing. Spin the wheel. Let's see what we get. It's it's Expressway. All right, Expressway.
Figure it out.
Erase all faces and redraw them with a newly generated expression or emotion.
Oh man.
I think I'm going to
Okay,
keep
but
the eyes in there since they aren't really expressing much on their own. I'm going to
okay.
change things up to for his whole expression though.
Make it look like he's like smugly not impressed.
Okay, smugly not impressed. How do I do that?
Yeah, like some human is like trying to convince him to spare his life or something, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm this is doing nothing for me, dude."
Oh man. Okay, this is gonna be tricky. It's like it's kind of like a half expression where it's just like uh it's got a lot of like subtlety to it that's gonna be hard to convey with eight eyes.
I know. You got the mouth right though. I think that'll do.
Some of them are half lidded. Some of the eyes are now half lidded.
when the wheel decides something for you, you gotta go for it and you gotta commit.
Yeah, but it's just such a subtle expression. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so he's got
Oh, that's
half.
why we called it the expressway. I see.
You're the one who came up with that name.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think of
Mhm,
that?
mhm. Maybe with some dialogue, it might come across as a smug, unimpressed look.
That's the most threatening thing about Ryuk, though, is the threat that you'll disappoint him.
Yeah, this was almost unfair because Ryuk is like known for his wide open eyes. Yeah, that's perfect. That was great. I like that prompt.
All right, now I'm gonna finish off these new legs.
Yeah. And then after that, I think you could pretty much call this one done.
Yeah,
I can totally picture this as something he would do too. I mean,
and
the bear paw and the gun, not so much, but I could definitely see him suddenly like sprouting 2 extra legs just to creep somebody out.
do they get to decide their own forms?
I don't know how it works.
Hmm,
Did
it's a
you know
good
that like the
question.
theory that light is a Shinigami at the end?
Oh yeah, that's how I think a lot of teens wanted it to be, but I really like the idea that he just straight up dies and he just sucks. Like that's that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
You
that's what
mentioned
you
you didn't
get.
read the manga, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference between the manga and the anime is how they portrayed Light's death. Like in the anime they portrayed it as like, oh, this really tragic and beautiful thing. And in the
Did they?
manga he's covered in blood, writhing on the floor, cursing at everyone. He's like, God damn it, let me live. I want to kill people. Come on, Ryuk, save me. And Ryuk's like, nah, I'm gonna kill you. And Ryuk's like,
Okay. Yeah, that part's definitely different because they portray it like Ryuk was doing it more as a mercy to Light in the anime.
yeah. And so, and yeah, and Light just dies on his back on the floor, covered in blood. The last thing he gurgles out is a damn it. And it's just like such an undignified death, and that is exactly what he deserves. That is what he needs for the ending, and the
I
anime
like
ruined
that.
it, in my opinion.
The anime ruined the whole ending.
Well,
Like how they arrived to that point was just like total
I
crap.
mean that part was in the comic too, so I won't blame the anime for that part. But it's very clear that they they planned out what Light's ending would be because it was very good, at least in the manga.
Gotcha.
All right, but I am done with my drawing. What do you think?
I think it's awesome, dude. I love this drawing. All right, well, if there's anybody that's following me, then they know that the one character I've drawn more than any others is Power Girl. So if the
Yeah.
prompt is a character that I'm familiar with, then I'm gonna go with her. So let's see what adjective I have to add to it.
Oh, it's not always going to be an adjective. Let's see what the word is though. Random word go. Institution.
What?
Yeah. So make Power Girl part of an institution or whatever you think that might mean.
All right. So one of the reasons I'm kind of hesitating with the Power Girl prompt is because it seems too easy in a way. I know you probably don't know much about her, but she is a CEO of her own company,
Oh
which is
yeah.
technically like an institution. So I can get away with just drawing her as like a business lady.
Yeah, it's kind of the Ryuk situation all over again. You gotta one up the idea.
How do I one up institution? Like that makes no sense. Yours is like you have to make him more scary. Like okay, but mine's like make her more bureaucratic,
Yeah, make her more business,
more business.
more red tape, more stuffy stuck up board meetings.
All right. Hmm.
If you really can't think of anything, we can go with a new random word.
No. No. That goes in the face of everything that whatever the name of the show is stands for. So I'll just start. I'm gonna have to rely on you to carry some of the conversation.
Oh yeah, because I know enough about Power Girl to Supergirl, whatever her girl prefix is.
Power Girl.
So wait, she's already a CEO or something, or
Yeah. And this is actually kind of funny. Little piece of trivia. In order to get her job, she asked Wonder Woman to like shoot her with a purple laser that taught her how to program.
uh, oh, okay, comic book logic, I get it, but A purple laser that teaches you how to program. I wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So
You heard
does
that exactly right.
any laser that's purple work for that, or does that have to be a very specific purple laser?
It's got to be the one that's owned by Wonder Woman.
Okay, so the owner being Wonder Woman is a big factor in how this laser works.
Yeah, I think she's the only one that has one, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm not super hip to like the details. I think I've read that issue, but it's so like vague and quick, and it was those old comics. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. I find them very boring.
How old are we talking? Like Silver Age, Golden Age,
Let's see. I think it's 70s or 80s.
Copper Age, Zinc Age?
Zinc, maybe. All right. So she's got like hair that's kind of like a Motoko Major from Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, I remember the Major. But is that institution enough?
Oh, that's a good point. It's a good freaking point. It's not. It's not.
It's just not.
You're right.
But the tricky thing is it also still needs to read as Power Girl.
Oh, it will. That'll be easy.
Okay, good. So I feel like you're the only person I've ever heard talk about Power Girl. So I'm very not very much not indoctrinated with the lore of Power Girl. I'm guessing for the first time since before meeting you, I never assumed there was a Power Girl, and I would have thought she was the same as Supergirl. And now I'm guessing that's probably not the case.
That is indeed not the case. And I'm going to preface this by explaining to our audience that when you're in the hot seat and you're drawing, your brain is not working at maximum capacity.
Oh yeah, it
So
shuts
I'm
down
not going to do a
entirely.
good job. Yeah, like I'm not going to do a good job explaining Power Girl right now, but I'm going to do I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I'm surprised I
Uh
came up with that whole Death Note rant in the middle of my drawing.
yeah, you were doing great, dude. You are, of course, as a comic book fan, superhero fan in general, aware of the multiversal theory.
Yes,
Well, way back when, DC had two predominant Earths called Earth 2 and Earth 1.
makes sense. Good
Earth
label.
2 is where you'll find the JSA, which is the Justice Society of America,
Okay.
and you get the counterparts to a lot of the characters that you'll see in the everyone's more familiar with. Like you have Hal Jordan, and everybody knows that's Green Lantern.
Hmm.
In Earth 2, that is actually Alan Scott, and he's a little different. You know, he doesn't have a magic ring, he has a magic rock.
Oh,
And yeah. And then
well,
you
it's
got
just
the
like a bunch of
Flash.
knockoff characters. Like
I wouldn't call them
it's
knockoffs.
a
Some of them predate what you're familiar with. So
okay.
like some of these are older than like what the popular Justice League versions that you see most of the time today. But not always that's not always the case.
Yeah, that just sounds like a planet of knockoffs, though. Like I really like the idea of just like some aliens on a boardwalk, really big fans of Earth, and they set up their own Earth paraphernalia stand, but they get everything wrong and just have to make up their own characters to avoid being sued.
Right.
That'll be another drawing prompt of ours, making
That's actually really good. You should write that down.
knockoff characters from Earth.
Yeah, like aliens are trying to like completely replicate a franchise or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. The appropriate amount of business. She's angry.
Yeah.
Business time.
Slamming the
Crunch
desk.
time in the middle of business season.
Oh, that's an inside joke line, but it works out in any context. I think it's one of those evergreen jokes.
Absolutely. All right. So to continue my story, I've already explained that there's duplicates, and so then you come to Supergirl.
Mhm.
She has Power Girl. That's who her Earth 2 counterpart is. But Power Girl was when she was designed, and this is getting more meta than it is lore. She was kind of designed to appeal to 13-year-old boys, in the way that they gave her a very low neckline and a larger bust than they normally would have at the
Yep.
time. And that's kind of what she's become known for. Unfortunately so in some cases. Like she's got way more of a character than that, but like I don't have a problem with it. But man, it is one of those things that is it divides fans.
Yeah.
Some people want to see it go, some people love the boob window. They really can't get rid of it. They've tried. It's too baked into her character at this point.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And then you've got the the whole debate over whether or not that's like nobody wants to argue, or no, not most people want to argue for the boob window when saying whether or not it's good for a female character to have lots of cleavage showing. It's like,
Well, I
yeah,
will totally argue for it because I do think that there is a severe lack of female comic book characters that are heroes that are allowed to show their sex appeal. Like it's always the anti-hero or the villain that gets to be sexy. And if they're like actually a good person, then suddenly like they have to button it up really, really tightly. The only one that really gets to, and even she, has to like constantly fight against like fan approval is She-Hulk.
huh?
And the other one I think would be Power Girl. She kind of gets to do that too, although she's often written in a way where she's like always annoyed that people are like checking her out or commenting on her body, which, that can be very annoying to experience. But I think if you're going to have this character that showcases her body in the way that Power Girl does, then you might want to just have her embrace it and say, "Yeah, I do this because I like to dress this way." That's the only explanation that they need to give. But they've tried so many other different ways of explaining, like, why she has, a boob window
See,
to no good success.
that's an interesting take to me, because it always feels like to me, and this is just as a surface level fan, I would say, like I watch Marvel movies, and that's a lot of the extent of my knowledge on these things. Every female hero tends to have a very tight form fitting costume that accentuates the curviness and all that stuff. So I'd say almost every female superhero has that sex appeal factor that um, Power Girl is apparently
I
gunning for.
and I would agree with you, especially if we go back into, like, the '90s, 'cause, you're right, it's all skin tight. But I think, in universe, people largely ignore that, like, nobody's, like, looking at Jean Grey and being like, "Oh, she needs to cover up," because she is covered up. But with the case of Power Girl, it's just because she happens to have this deliberate oval on her chest. It changes things. Like technically, Wonder Woman shows more boob than Power Girl, but Wonder Woman does not catch the same flack.
I'd say she's like kind of in the middle of that debate, but not a figurehead of it.
Oh yeah, you think Wonder Woman gets flack for her sex appeal?
I'd say like she's an example of the of the side opposing the objectification of women.
This conversation's getting too much for me. I can't draw at the same time.
Yeah, let's
I
we're
need
getting
to
into
take it back.
dangerous territory where we're gonna get very angry people. If anyone ever
Yeah,
watches.
there will for sure be people that disagree with me, and I'm cool with that. I've had this conversation with a lot of different people. Some of them very smart, and they have been on both sides of it. So like I can respect anybody's opinion on the matter. But getting back into less opinion, more factual stuff that I can share with you.
Yes.
Uh, the story goes that in her debut, that the artist Wally Wood thought his editor was not paying attention to what he was doing,
Hmm.
and that he could get away with anything. So what he did was he deliberately increased the size of the boob window every issue until eventually the editor said, "Hey man, what's up with the tits?" And then that's where it stayed forever. Now this story has been told and retold for like decades, and there's no evidence that it actually happened. But it's a
Okay,
fun
so
little
it's
like
like a it's
thing.
like potential telephone thing where people just
Yeah,
exaggerated it with every step.
I have read those issues. I did not notice an increase in size, like not once. But it's a fun little story.
Yeah, it adds to the mythos.
Now, arguably, Power Girl's boob window might have saved her life. Because this is when you get into like the really crazy part of her lore.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I've I've heard of that. I've heard of the title being parodied, but I don't know if I've ever seen anything to do with what it actually is.
I'll explain it as soon as I figure out these arms. Let's see, like the elbow would be like here.
Oh, okay. She's like she's slamming straight down on the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good art tip for anyone needing to know how long arms should be. Draw the hands where you want them to be. Draw the torso where you want it to be, and just pinpoint where the elbow should be, roughly, equidistant between them, and
Hmm.
that'll get you a a pretty solid like arm length every time.
Yeah, I don't know how you I mean, I suppose if you do this enough times, you can draw however you want, but this helps me a ton with, like, estimating how long the arm is actually gonna be
Yeah,
and
it,
with just visualizing it.
yeah. It's not foolproof, but it's a nice little tip just to make things easier.
Yeah. Alright. So, Crisis on Infinite Earths is this huge event that happened, like, in the '80s, I think, and, it consolidated all of the multiverse into one Earth.
Okay.
Now, since I've just explained to you how there is a ton of duplicate superheroes inhabiting Earth 2, then that causes a bit of a problem,
Yeah, I
and
imagine that'd
someone
be a
in
bit of an identity crisis for a lot of people.
Identity Crisis comes later. So they have to kinda pick and choose, like, who are they gonna keep, and the whole thing, even, like, the story is, like, the Anti-Monitor is doing a thing, but behind the scenes, they're basically trying to clean house. They're getting rid of heroes that they don't think they can isn't profitable anymore, and, a lot of the times, this is where the Earth 2 people kinda get the shaft, except for Power Girl.
Hmm.
She survives, and, you could probably argue why someone at the time would do that, but I think they probably had a thing, Power Girl, and thought that she has potential elsewhere, and they weren't ready to get rid of her and write her off. But they can't have her be Supergirl anymore, so instead, they decide that she is now an Atlantean.
Atlantean,
Yeah.
like like Aquaman. Okay, that's a bit of a turn. All right, I'm on board though.
Yep. And so she's an Atlantean for a little while, she's on the Birds of Prey for a little while, she bounces around quite a bit in this whole saga, and then eventually, along comes Jeff Johns. Do you know who that is?
I have no clue.
Jeff Johns has done a lot for DC, he's had a huge hand in all the movies that have come out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and people have a very divisive opinions on this man, but, I think he's good at coming up with ways to make the lore work for itself, and one of the things he did with Power Girl was that he reinstated her, Kryptonian heritage, and, one
Ah.
of my favorite comic book runs of all time, Power Girl 2009 is, I think, how you can search for it. It's by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, her husband, and they're
Mhm.
like a husband and wife duo, and Justin Gray is also on the book, just so I don't forget anybody. And, they have this whole story about how she realizes that she's actually a Kryptonian, and she has to rediscover her lost family. She realizes, like, all these people she knew are gone, and then there's the whole story with, Superboy Prime, and it brings back it's a whole thing.
Mm.
And then she gets to, like, be her own hero in New York, and that so actually, like, the whole nonsense I was just talking about is actually, like, the setup for the part of the story that I like, which is her in New York being a hero, kinda like Spider-Man. She gets
Yeah.
overwhelmed. She's constantly on a learning curve. And, how can I make this more businessy?
It needs like a triangular prism with her name etched on it. uh, One of
Oh,
those
yeah,
kind of
you're
name
right.
tags,
Yeah.
and maybe a coffee mug. It's crunch time in the business.
That's that right there is a testament of, how much my brain's not working right now.
Yeah, editing note to Ben. Cut out the huge chunks of spaces we're drawing.
The middle of business season. Okay.
It's a great word bubble too.
Nobody needs to know. And then, yeah, we'll give her a coffee mug.
Perfect.
Erasing is so hard.
Yeah,
And then for fans of Power Girl, they will understand this reference.
an eraser. Yeah. Oh no, that doesn't look like an eraser. Is that a snow globe?
It is.
Does Power Girl appear in Rosebud or something?
No, she collects snow globes, and there's a pretty famous panel where this guy is messing with the snow globes on her desk, and like the panel is framed to where the snow globes are like perfectly like overlapping. They're eclipsing her boobs, and she's saying, "Quit messing with my snow globes."
Oh, not very subtle.
No, that was 2009.
So I gotta address this because I thought you'd add more to it and then you never did. Um,
Okay, go ahead. Ask me questions, please. Keep me on track.
I'm guessing that's like a bun on her head that she like stuck like a big like needle thing through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
Okay. I thought you were starting to draw like a fez shaped hat and it was going to have those little propeller things coming out of it
No, it's one of those little needle buns.
and that you never finished it. I mean, I think my idea is better. Like just finish the propellers. Just do
Finish what? The fez hat?
it. No, I'm joking.
No.
The timer for our wheel has just gone off though.
Oh, did it?
So you dawdling a little bit has just caused yourself a problem in
Oh
that
no.
you now need to spin the luck of the draw.
Okay, let's see what I get.
Let's spin the wheel and see what you have to do. Ooh, subtitled.
Is this where we come up with like a random phrase?
Yes, we go to a random sentence generator and you have to put that as a subtitle for the picture and hopefully it gives it a funny new context.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Okay. The team members were hard to tell apart since they all wore their hair in a ponytail. That's why she's mad. There's no text feature in this, is there?
I don't think so, but I'll just write it. You
Oh,
can
that
fast
is
forward
so
it and
much.
like
That is so
post.
much to write out. I'm gonna put that in post.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
We won't be able to enjoy it in real time, but we'll know.
Okay.
I guess that's why she's mad. It's because you can't tell anyone apart.
I don't know. Maybe she bought like a baseball team or something, and now she's mad like a rich person. Like, why'd you put them all in ponytails?
Exactly. I think this went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I performed terribly, but that's natural.
We can fix that in post. Don't worry.
Sure, sure. I probably did a terrible job explaining one of my favorite characters to someone, but
No, it's
it's okay.
it's a knockoff Supergirl who eventually became an Atlantean when there wasn't any
See,
room for her in Krypton.
the fact that you called her a knockoff Supergirl means I failed in my job.
What are you gonna do when she's from Earth 2?
They're so different though. Like her personality is she's more brash and like headstrong and impulsive, and lately they've been giving those qualities to Supergirl proper, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been annoying me because like I'm like no, that is Power Girl. She's the one that's like that. Like in their really popular cartoon, Superhero Girls or something. There's like a Supergirl that looks just like Power Girl. Like she's got short blonde hair. She even wears the Power Girl costume in one episode just to like throw it in our faces. But she acts just like Power Girl.
Power Girl can be nothing but an homage.
I guess so. I mean, it's been a rough time for Power Girl fans. We haven't gotten like a really good story in a decade, 12 years.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, we are a very new channel, so any help that you can provide, whether it's a like, comment, subscribe, anything you want to do to help us out would be really appreciated. And if you have any suggestions on what we should draw, we'd be happy to hear it. Thanks so much. Take care.